between 1965 and 1986, the Philippines underwent significant changes under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos. Today, we bring you the recollections of those who bore witness to these transformative years. Through their stories, we will gain insight into the societal changes that occurred during this era.
Today, we have two special guests. Let us welcome our first guest for today, Oliver, a veteran witness during the presidency of Marcos. Oliver is one of the witnesses to the transformation of Philippine society during that time. Oliver, thank you for joining us today. Could you tell us about your experiences and the changes you witnessed between 1965 and 1986?
Thank you, Sunshine. It's an honor to share my story during this period. The Philippines experienced a mix of economic growth and social unrest. I recall feeling the impact of Marcos' policies, particularly his emphasis on infrastructure development and economic reforms. In the early years, there was a sense of hope and progress. Marcos initiated ambitious projects such as establishment of industrial zones and the development of infrastructures like airports, roads, and bridges. These changes brought forth new opportunities and jobs for many Filipinos. However, as time went on, the crack in the system began to show. The growing presence of the military and increasing corruption created an atmosphere of fear and delusionment. Martial law was declared, leading to the suppression of civil liberties, including limitation on media and human rights abuses. For many of us, it was time to sacrifice and hardships. Economic inequalities widened, and the middle class was squeezed. Activism and protests sprang up as people fought for their rights and freedoms. The turning point came when the assassination of Senator Benigno Aquino Jr. in 1983 ignited widespread outrage. These events fueled the collective desire for change and eventually led to the People Power Revolution in 1986, which marked the end of the Marcos regime.
Thank you, Oliver, for sharing your personal experiences and shedding light on this important field. We have another special guest, a veteran who served during the Ferdinand Marcos presidency, and will be discussing how society changed in the Philippines between 1968 and 1986. Thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. I'm JP and I served as a soldier in those years.
Let's start by talking about the Philippines in 1965 when Marcos took office. How would you describe the state of society at the time?
In 1965, the Philippines was a young democracy. Society was marked by political diversity and a growing middle class. The economy was relatively stable, but there were still many challenges, including poverty and political corruption.
What were some of the significant changes that occurred over the 2 decades leading up to 1986?
During those years, we saw a mixture of progress and turmoil. On one hand, there were infrastructure developments, including roads and buildings. However, Marcos declared martial law in 1972, which significantly altered the political landscape. It brought stability but also human rights abuses and curtailed freedom. By 1986, there was a growing discontent both within the military and among the people. People Power Revolution that eventually led to Marcos' ousting represented a collective desire to change democracy and an oath to authoritarian rule. It was a time of hope and optimism for a bright future.
Thank you, JP, for sharing your experiences and insights into the societal change that occurred during the Marcos presidency. It's been an enlightening conversation.
Thank you and welcome.
The period from 1965 to 1986 was a time of significant change and turbulence for the Philippines. Through the stories of witnesses like Oliver and JP, we gain a deeper understanding of the societal transformations that took place. It's important to remember our history and the lessons we learn as we continue forging our nation's future.